Ignorance is the curse of God. Knowledge is the wing wherewith we fly to heaven. That's by William Shakespeare. That's our quote of the day. And this is Exus The Podquest.
This show is for seekers. We are seeking answers to the fundamental questions of existence. Questions such as, how did the universe get started? What's the meaning of life? Why is there something rather than nothing? And most importantly, how can we fix the dying problem?
All right, welcome to Exus The Podquest. On this episode, we are going to be exploring, we're going to be seeking an answer. Okay, again, seeking answers to fundamental questions. And this one is, why is it that that a great majority of us, a great large majority of us, don't know anything? It sounds bad. It sounds worse than it is. But, why is it that a very large number of people don't know anything? And yet there are other people that do, and we kind of dismiss them in some ways. Or at least the one group dismisses the other. And let me kind of unpack all of that for you. I'm picking up from a couple of other episodes I did before. One of them was the existential pie episode. How could so many people be so wrong? At the end of that episode, I asked a question: or the question, maybe everyone's wrong. And now I'm kind of getting through some of that in a not diverse, but in a weird way. And you'll see how I'm doing that. Hopefully, it becomes clear. I'm also picking up from the last episode that we just recorded, and that involved the search for life in other worlds, life elsewhere in the universe. So I'm going to see if all this comes together. We'll see. All right, so let me start with this. If you ask me, what do you favor? Science, religion, philosophy, all that. I would have, generally speaking, I'm a big fan of science. I love science. I think it's got the approach, the reasoning, all of that. I'm not dismissing in any way, shape, or form philosophy or religion at this moment. I'm just kind of telling you that I'm a big fan of science. I love science. I think it's a great thing. And I've studied it for a long time. Not the mathematical part of it. We all know that. But a lot of the theoretical stuff. I've also looked at a lot of philosophy, a lot of religion. But yeah, science is a big draw for me. But sometimes I think it'd be a lot easier, maybe even better, to just to adopt a religious point of view. And I'm not in any way criticizing science or religion per se, but I am going to actually rip on science. I am. I'm going to rip on science a little bit here today. All right. I'm going to definitely do that. So I sometimes do it where I'm not saying it in a bad way, but then I go ahead and say something in a really bad way. And that kind of just happened with science. So the point is let's do it this way. If you ask science, the science, but let me kind of almost a mock interview, right? If I ask science, how did, or better yet, there it is. Why is there something rather than nothing? The most fundamental question. Why is there something rather than nothing? And the answer that science is going to tell you ultimately is, we don't know. Right? We don't know. And and then that's science. Why is there something rather than nothing? We don't know. Right? Turn to the religious folks. Religion. Why is there something rather than nothing? Answer: oh, God did it. They know. They know what the answer is. It's not like it's somewhat of a in a formative state. They actually know. Science is like, we don't know yet. We're working on that. So religion, we know. It's God. God did it. And then you ask the next question. Well, how did the universe get here? What was that about? And the science would say, we don't know. We know that there was inflation and the Big Bang. We can trace everything all the way back. But if you want to go beyond that, we want to go all the way to the beginning. The really, really, really beginning, before the Big Bang, before inflation, before all of that. Answer from science: we don't know. And you ask the religious guy, religion. So how did the universe get here? God did it. God made it. Oh, okay. Well, there it is. It's a simple answer. God did it. And then the next question. Well, how did life get started? Science. You've been studying this for ever. Thank goodness you're here for us. How did life get started in the universe? How did that happen? Answer, we don't know. Religion, how did life get started? Oh, God did it. God made life. All right? So there you have that too. The next one. How did it's consciousness? It's the most fundamental part of us. We're all so conscious. It's like our whole existence. That's what we are. We're conscious, and we live with that every day. Science. How did that happen? How did consciousness arise? Well, we don't know. We have absolutely no idea. We call it the hard problem of science of consciousness because it's too hard right now. We have no clue. Okay, religion. How did consciousness get here? Well, God did it. Okay, well, 3 times, 4 times now. There you have it. Okay, you go on to the next one. Well, what happens to us after we die? Because we all want to know. That's one of our scariest. That's one of, we build in everything to figure out what's going to happen to us after we die. We don't want to die. We just don't want to. We don't want to stop living. So science, what the hell? Come on, what is it? What happens after we die? Well, we don't know. Okay. Religion, religious guy. What happens after we die? Well, you go and live with God, or you burn in the fires of hell because you were a bad guy. That's it. They know it. They know the answers, and sometimes I think to myself, "Wow, wouldn't it be something to know?" They don't. True believers aren't shakable. It's not like you can get into a conversation with them, present all the facts of science and all the details and everything, and then they say, "Oh, well, you know what? You're right. I'm going to then switch over." Oh my goodness. That doesn't almost never happen. Occasionally, I'm sure it does. Some people have studied a long time and they finally come to a conclusion that says, okay, well, my faith is wrong, but it happens, but it's rare. The people I've met, almost always, absolutely unshakable. It's like, yeah, they know. It's not like they believe or have faith. They say, yeah, I have faith, but it's more of knowledge. They know that God exists, is the reason why there is something rather than nothing. That he, she, whatever, created the universe, that gave life to humans and other living forms on the planet, and that when we die, we're going to be either with him in heaven or, bam, you're going to hell because you didn't live a good life and whatnot. And the universe is going to end only if God ever lets it end, which he won't. And if he does, then it's because it's his choice. Why does he do it in mysterious ways? All of that, all that. And you look at science and you say, you've got this really great reasoning, all this thought and complexity, experiments and testing and all of it, which is so fabulous. And it is. It's the most fabulous stuff in the world because we're saying what the science is saying in large part, not all of them, but in large part, they're basically saying that the answers that religion's giving and has given are too simplistic. Well, God did it. Well, come on now, really? That's a simple answer. Well, you just say God did everything, and it's a God of the gaps. It's God did this, but then you turn back to science and you say, okay, yeah, good. All right, yeah, that's fantastic. That's really, you're right. It's a very simplistic way to say, well, guys, I guess God did it. All right. Well, so science, what is it? What are the answers then? Well, we don't know. And it's like, okay, well, that's okay on 1 or 2. You need to have some answers. We've been doing this now for a very, very long time, and there's got to be. You're saying to me there's no answers, no real good answers to any of this, and they can say, well, we got all the technology and all the rest of it. Yes, there are some really. We have evolution. We know how that works. And then, of course, the religion people from religion would say, well, no, you don't really. That's how God does things, is through evolution. All right, well, leaving that aside a little bit, you got some credit there. But it's been a long time. It's been quite a bit of time. And a lot of effort's been gone into it. But we don't have the answers to the most fundamental stuff at all. And that's really disappointing. It's disturbing. And I guess I challenge science to say, and like I say, I'm a big fan of science. I love science, and I think that is, of course, the source for me of where I go to find answers to things. I'm looking for them, and not that I don't also in religion and philosophy. I do, but in science is really a major area of focus. And yet, if I'm giving a message, right, to team science, so to speak, I'd say, team science, you guys really need to win. Okay, at some point you need a win here under your belt in order to really kind of move things forward. Now, granted, I mean, you can say, well, look at all the things we've done. We've come to this really great understanding. We got the standard model of physics. We got all this, but then, yes, true, and it's gotten us a long way, and it's and whatnot. But if you look back at history. You look back at history and you say, what happened at the turn of the 20, just when the turn of the century, the 19th century, the 20th century. At that point, the scientific community said, we've pretty much got all the answers. We figured it all out. We just got some details, some hammering, to do, sandpapering, if you will, and get it all done. Then we're all set. Then we know everything. Problem with that, of course, is that was before Einstein's relativity theories, all right, and before, just as importantly, quantum mechanics, which then disrupted the entire program. I mean, it just completely turned everything on its head and left people wondering what the hell is going on. So what? And granted, it was, you could say, well, now we've built all of that in, but we now still don't know how those two things work together. We don't have a unified theory of everything. We're trying to work it out. And you could say, we've come a long way, and we have in a lot of ways. But science, team science, you really need a win and be able to say, yep, we've nailed one of these down. We've got something big. We know how this happened. Instead of saying, well, how did the universe get here? We don't know. What about why is there something rather than nothing? Well, we don't know. I guess it just is always, it's there. You can't say that. You got to have an answer. And how did life get started? We can't even figure that out. We're living, and we can't figure that out. So yeah, science, I'm still with you, right? I'm still major time with you, but I'm looking for a win, right? I mean, you got to come forward at some point and nail something, get it down. So that's the message for today, and like I said, and I'm not dismissive of religion in any way by saying this. It's much easier because they, like I said, they know that their answers are right. Science is saying we don't know, and so it's a throw off. Anyway, so okay, go over to our website. Let us know. Let me know. Do you like this subject matter? And even if you don't, let me know that too. I'd love to know. And what maybe I'm not giving enough credit to science in a way. So tell me what I'm doing. I'm pretty sure that we don't have those answers, but let me know more on that. Go over to the website. Give us your comments there. Come on back over to YouTube and give us your comments here. The comment section is wide open. Love to know your thoughts. As always, make sure when you're here at YouTube that you click like, even if you don't like the subject or the show, click it anyway and repeatedly. Also subscribe, even if you already have. Keep subscribing over and over and over again. Couldn't hurt. And then also do get your 10. We've talked about this. Go out and get 10 people on a monthly basis. It's not that hard. Go out and get 10 people to join the podcast as Podquest as a subscriber to this YouTube channel. And if you do it early in the month, as I like to say, it makes it a lot easier. So just go ahead, knock it out first week, let's say, something like that. You guys go there. We will be going ever forward.